welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
And absent, we need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. First name's Doni, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. Listen, today we have history joining us. For those friends and family who live out the Liberty Road corridor, Randallstown, there's an important piece of history you need to know. That for the first time ever, an African American is the chair of the Baltimore County Council. And that just doesn't happen every day. But I got to share with you, it comes on the heels of having your first Black county council person. So to date, in the year 2022, we've had only 2 African Americans serve on the Baltimore County Council. Now, just like in the state of Maryland, African Americans make up about 30%, if I'm not mistaken, of Baltimore County. And they represent, I think, one of the most upwardly mobile and more affluent sections of Baltimore County, well deserving of 3 county council people. But without further ado, let me stop guessing and just ask someone who knows. And he's a Dunbar poet. Good morning, poet. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful, Doni. Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. You look like you've won re-election already.
Well, let me start by saying appreciate you giving me a shout out on the chairmanship. This is actually my 3rd year being chairman, but you're right, the first African American to do so. In terms of re-election, well, I don't have an opponent. However, I think it's important that I go out and ask people for their vote and continue. And I do that, every day by my deeds, by working hard for the people of this community and the county. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. People have been gracious enough to reelect me once, and hopefully they'll reelect me again.
I want to go back to the beginning. People see you now. They say, oh, the councilman, got the wife, the family. He's got it plush. If they didn't know any better, one, they would never imagine that you are a Dunbar poet. I mean, you know how we look and judge. You see somebody standing on the corner of Liberty Road in Essex, and you just figure you know their whole life story. So let me ask you, did politics come easy for you? Did you just pop up and become the chair, or did you run into a bit of adversity?
Well, listen, there's always adversity in life. I am a Dunbar poet, born and raised in East Baltimore, and, worked hard all my life and, went to the community college and graduated from UMBC and joined the fire department in 1985 and, made history there, working my way through the ranks. And I think, becoming the first Black officer in the Anne Arundel County Fire Department, becoming the lieutenant, captain, battalion, and division chief before I retired. I think you can sum it all up with you have to go out and work hard to achieve what you want to achieve, and not be typecast, not be swayed by the fact that no one else has done something, or feel like you can't do it. You have to believe in yourself, and there's no secret. Believe in yourself, and then go out and do the work. Go out and do the work, and sometimes things aren't going to be easy. Sometimes things are not going to be fair. You have to improvise, adapt, and overcome. And that's what you have to do. And that's what the struggle is all about. And that's what my life story's been about. And I just keep on plugging away, Donnie. I may not be the smartest guy, but I'll outwork most people. I'll be working while they're sleeping.
You know, when I look at a Kwesi Mfume, when I look at a Westmore, you know, they get the limousines, they get to ride in to, you know, ride in the harbor on the USS Donnie Glover. You know, they get the Air Force flyover. Did it come that easy for you? I'm talking about when you first started. I mean,
no, of course not.
Of
course not. It didn't come easy, you know. And listen, along the way, there's always setbacks and obstacles, and sometimes you don't succeed. And I always say, you know, like the first time I, you know, when ran for office, I didn't get elected. But the trick in life is, it's only a setback, and it's not final until you say it's final. In other words, it's a delay, it's a setback, as long as you're willing to keep struggling to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen this time, it happens next time. But when you quit, then it's a loss. When you quit, then it's over. When you say, I'm not doing this anymore, then okay, you know, go do something else. But yeah, no, it wasn't easy, Donnie. You know that. You've been there with me. I've been connected with you for many years, and you know my story more than most. So no, it wasn't easy. And you know, to be listen, not to speak for Kwesi or Westmore or any of those folks, but I would imagine
they're knocking on your door now.
Well, listen, I imagine it wasn't easy for them neither, right? I mean, none of this stuff is, you know, it's not.
But now they knocking on your door.
Well, I wouldn't go that.
Back then you didn't. What did they say? Back then you didn't want me. Now I'm out. You all on me, Julian Jones.
I wouldn't go that far.
Dolores Kelly.
Yes, Senator Kelly.
She got to be your favorite person out Liberty Road.
Well, Senator Kelly's been in the struggle for quite some time, and she's a pioneer out here in the Liberty Road corridor, in the sense that, you know, before we had African Americans elected out here in Baltimore County, she came in from the city. She had some political experience. She knew how to run an election, how to build a ticket, how to make things happen, and she did that. And she's been doing it, and she's going to retire this is her last term, so she's going to retire at the end of this year, and you know, have nothing but much love and respect for her.
Now, going in the boxing gym, when you first went in the ring, she was hitting you with left hooks and uppercuts.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, look, I think the senator did what she could to help me, and I'm very appreciative. So, you know, I'm not going to say she was hitting me with uppercuts. I mean, along the way, of course, we've had some disagreements from time to time, but, you know, the truth be told, I don't agree with my wife every day either. Nor, you know, so that's just the way it goes. But at the end of the day, I think we all want what's best for our community. And, you know, and sometimes, you know, I've been lately, you talk about how many blacks on the county council. Lately, I find myself explaining to people all over again about the civil rights movement in our country. And I've been explaining to people, you know, you need not look further if you want to see or recognize that so many people played a significant role in our achievements today. And they all didn't agree. And they all didn't have the same MO, but they all wanted the same thing. And if you look at Malcolm and Martin, that's a classic example of two people who had different methods, who had different beliefs, but no one would question their commitments to African Americans and Black people. So, sometimes we disagree on issues, but I think we all want the same thing. And I think we're in trouble, to a certain degree, if you think that it's only one way to do something, and or put all your eggs in one basket. So, that's where we are. As it relates to African Americans on the county council, we are at a place, Donnie. I'm telling you right here, this is a historic election. We have never had African Americans running in the other districts throughout Baltimore County. Now, right now we have, let me count them so I can be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 African Americans running throughout Baltimore County. So, I'd be betting, I'd be sort of like not being honest if I told you that they're all going to win. They're not going to win. But this is the beginning. This is where you have to, and this has been my point all along. We have to have more candidates. You can't win if you're not in the struggle. You can't win if you're not in the game. You can't win sitting on the sideline. I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how much experience you have. As long as you're sitting on the sideline and you're not playing, you can't win.
So let's talk about that. One thing Senator Kelly is good at, as you mentioned, was organizing. I live in Sandtown.
Mm-hmm.
Sandtown is quite different than Randallstown.
Okay.
At the same time, they treat us like they treat y'all. They say, a big box won't come to the avenue. And I know that Black people support big boxes wherever they are, but we know how the racists think. But Baltimore County, you got upwardly mobile African Americans. How do you get us? Because, some people would say, Mr. Chair, that we got soft. There's a time you had people out Liberty Road like Ella White Campbell. And you think Dolores Kelly was a fighter. I thought Ella White was as much a fighter. And she insisted that we get involved. We go to real nice churches out there. That church, I got to go see Joe Mann tomorrow out there in New Antioch. I don't know if Reverend Barney is still pastor out there, but you got a lot of motion, a lot of movement out there. How do we get, and let me not even mention the word on the street about Jay Jaleesi paying them churches $500 a pop out there, but how do we get more organized?
Well, I think, it's important that we are organized, and, we do our best to keep people organized. But to be honest, listen, we have to know what we want. Whenever you go for something, it has to be achievable, and you have to be able to measure your success, and then you put the effort into it, and then you'll know whether you're going to get it or not. But if you said tomorrow, listen, you have to know that what you're going for is achievable. So let's back up for a minute. We talk about big box stores and things of that nature. Well, right now in Owings Mill, we have what I call the triple crown of Owings Mill. Owings Mills had a dead mall. Owings Mills Mall was going down. That center was redeveloped. It's now called Mill Station, and has a Costco and a lot of other things. And that wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. There was a lot of competing interests for what should happen there. I had town hall meetings with 300, 400, and 700 people showing up to talk about what they wanted and what they did not want. Super Walmart was slated to go there, and we worked really, really hard with the developer because I don't own it. But, having the power of the government, you can really influence people because you have the power. So we were able to work with them to develop a very nice center. Right next door, the second part of the Triple Crown is the Metro Center. That was a parking lot. And now it's the only Baltimore County transit-oriented development. We have literally over $1 billion of private investment there. The latest addition has been a Marriott hotel, complete ballrooms, you name it, just high-end apartments renting for $2,000 a month, and a lot of shops and stores there. And that's just the Metro Center at something like I said, over $1 billion of investment. And then right around the corner was the Solo Cup Factory. The Solo Cup Factory went out of business, and now we have Foundry Row. Again, high-end luxury apartments, Baltimore County second Wegmans, you name it, all the stores are there you want, and it's a very high-end place. Now, let's look at the beginning. Dead Mall, hundreds of acres. That's opportunities. Metro Center, the subway system with 2 massive parking lots. Now people parking in parking garages. Opportunities. Solo Cup Factory.
And
Wait a minute, Donnie. Hundreds of acres that's available for redevelopment. And those things were redeveloped. Now, those things would not be redeveloped had it not been for the calculation of the people of Randallstown and surrounding areas and their incomes being able to support that. So one of the things I hear all the time, what are you going to do for Liberty Road? What are you going to do? Well, first of all, there's nowhere. Liberty Road, I love Liberty Road. We work hard to make improvements. We put in, ornamental lights. We put in new sidewalks, thanks to the state and Speaker Jones. We put in all sorts of fancy intersections. But if you go 100 feet off Liberty Road, most of Liberty Road, you're going to hit a house anyway. Then if you go 100 feet off Liberty Road, you're going to hit more houses. So we have some shopping centers on Liberty Road, but that's basically all you're going to do with Liberty Road. You can redevelop the shopping centers, but once you get into some massive, you're never going to do the kind of things you did at Owings Mills, just because what people have told me, and I've talked to developers. In order to do anything on Liberty Road, all you have is these shopping centers. Anywhere else, you're going to have 50 houses, and the people in those communities don't want a shopping center. I mean, they don't. You know what I mean? Like, I had somebody who wanted to buy the Golden Dragon, and they wanted to make a Wawa, and it was going to be a big, beautiful Wawa, but they were going to have to buy 6 houses into the community to make it work. And they got agreements from the owners. But what about the person in the 7th house, the 8th house, the 9th house? They weren't crazy about the idea. They didn't want, wait a minute, I used to have a neighbor and I used to live in a community. Now all of a sudden you're going to make it a Wawa or something else. So that's been the challenge with Liberty Road. And people have said, once you start talking, and believe me, we know this from the county's point of view. If we want to widen the road or make an improvement, every person on that street wants $1 million for the house. Even though it's worth $400,000, $300,000, they all want $1 million. And nobody wants to be the first one to sell. So those are the challenges. So, right now there's a lot of effort and energy directed towards Security Mall. So that's, again, a lot of space is there. A lot of land. You got to have the land. I
wanted to get in a question of how, and I hear what you're saying about Liberty Road. It's almost not much you can do with that area. But going back to Owings Mills, this is the second generation of Owings Mills, if you will. When they first had the mall, transportation was a key issue.
Absolutely.
And not just transportation, but how people got from the subway over to the mall. People used to cut through. Now, I don't know if you were in office. I think this was before you.
Yeah.
But a person got killed on that little cut through.
Yep.
And it left the county discombobulated maybe for 15 years. They didn't know what to do. And so I commend the county for persevering, because all interest could have been lost with that one murder, that one death. But unlike Baltimore subway, you were able to get it back on track.
Well,
Let me say this. The Baltimore subway has to be the dumbest piece of mass transportation in the entire world. But nonetheless, Baltimore County persevered to make sure the people of that area had something that made sense.
So let me just say this. Give me 1 second.
Take your time. And we're talking with Baltimore County Council Chair Julian Jones. He's actually the second African American in this slot. And although he ain't your favorite guy, our prayers go to Ken Oliver. I don't know. We haven't seen him. We know he's been a tad sickly, but it's nonetheless a continuum. When I think of Randallstown, and I think of you, I think of him, I think of Dolores Kelly and Ella White Campbell. A lot of people didn't come to your 10th District Democratic Club meetings or the 4th District meetings, but you guys did go. You persevered, and while some eggs got cracked, you have a wonderful omelet today, buddy.
Well, I thank you. So let me go to the mall, right? So yeah, you're absolutely right. A person, working at the mall before the Metro Center was there, you had like some woods, and you had like basically a pathway to get to the subway. And people working at the mall or shopping at the mall who didn't have their own transportation would go through that pathway. And the young lady was killed on that path. And it was a horrible thing, and it shook Baltimore County. And it did not help the mall that happened. The reputation
that one
didn't help the mall.
Single-handedly almost killed everything, almost.
Well, no. I mean, listen, the reality is Baltimore County is no different than so many other places. Malls, you talk about the continuum. Believe me, I've done a lot of work and research on this stuff because I like to dive deep into stuff. So I make sure I understand. I get deep. It's happening all across the country, Donnie. Malls are going down. Malls are not what people want today. So the company that owns Owings Mills Mall, they happen to own most of the malls in our area. They made a decision that malls were going down, and so they were going to shore up their strongest malls, like Towson and Columbia, and they were going to let the others sort of like wither on the vine. And in addition to that, they allowed some of the high-end stores to break their leases to go to their flagship malls. So in the end, all across this country, where we used to have a mall everywhere, all these malls are being repurposed. Most of these malls are going, they've gone by the wayside. People are not investing in malls. What it is nowadays is mixed use, outdoor shopping experiences combined with apartments and offices, live, work, and play all at the same place. That's what's in style today. That's where the money is being invested today. The malls have lost its flavor, and malls are going down, and nobody's investing in malls except for those flagships like Towson, Columbia, and even like right now, you look at White Marsh Mall. They're not investing money in White Marsh Mall. They're investing a lot of money in the Avenue, but White Marsh Mall is another one. So, and it's not just happening here. All across the country, malls are becoming community colleges, and you name it. They're repurposing them all across the country because there's just no, malls are going down. Let's
Let's
just admit it.
on the transportation tip. I got to get to you about the east side of the county. Of course, many of us are more familiar from West Baltimore in particular with Woodlawn,
Yeah.
Randallstown, Owens Mills. But a lot has been happening on the east side of the county. That's over there where Johnny Ocheski comes out of. And there's also Turner Station over there.
Yep. Yep.
There's the waterfront. Tell me about the east side of the county. What's happening over there?
Okay. So let me. I'm going to tell you what's happening over there. Let me guess. Finish up real fast on the transportation. The Metro Center, somewhere around 50-some thousand people ride that thing every day, going into downtown Baltimore and the east side of Hopkins on that Metro Center. That's how many people come in and out of that parking garage every day. Security Mall, I don't think we would be where we are today with Security Mall if that red line was established. If we were able to get that red line built, that was going to be a stop on the subway, and I believe you would have more investments in Security Mall in that area today than we had. Now, let's get now we're done
Why
with the
didn't the red line happen?
Huh? Well,
why didn't O'Malley?
well, Governor Hogan decided that it was too expensive.
But I thought
there was going to be
O'Malley
$900 million of investments coming into Baltimore area.
But I
to
thought
help
O'Malley
build it.
could have left this shovel ready.
Say again?
I thought O'Malley could have left this shovel ready before running for president.
Well, we probably could go back further and talk about what O'Malley did, but what I know is it came to fruition under Hogan. And Hogan decided, it was too expensive. And that's a decision he made, and we didn't get the $900 million in investments, and that's the second piece. So
But O'Malley did punt the ball. O'Malley could have maxed that before he left.
Well, I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it. You know what I mean? I'll just take your word for it. On the east side,
because you got transportation on the east side. That's why I want you to get to the port of Baltimore. The waterfront and those jobs. And you
absolutely.
got speedboats over there.
So let's talk about the east side. It used to be Sparrows Point. Now it's Trade Point Atlantic. It's a global logistics hub. You have Amazon, Toyota. You have all these big companies coming into Trade Point Atlantic. And there's a tremendous amount, over 10,000 some jobs over there by private employers. We as a county, we built the fire station, we built the park, we're doing all sorts of stuff over there to support that. One of the things that I have been doing is, number one, making sure that minority participation goes in, some 20 to 25% goes into some of that infrastructure needs over there in terms of bringing in minority contractors to work over there.
And that's code for black business.
Code for black business. And number two, making sure that there was transportation, public transportation, to go there from the city, giving people opportunities to go out there and get those jobs who may not otherwise have transportation. If you go there now and you go there at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, a shift change or whatever, it's a traffic jam of so many cars coming out of there. You just see traffic, and you see tail lights for long ways. So there's a lot of jobs over there.
Sounds like North Avenue.
Well, let me tell you, but let's talk about the east side. Let's finish the east side. We are slated to have our second transit-oriented development on the east side because of the rail system. Not so much the subway, but, people commuting to D.C. and other places because of the train. Number two, if you look at Baltimore County, if you look at the migration of black folks to Baltimore County, right? You always had Turner Station over there. And for the most part, you had tremendous growth on the west side. Liberty Road corridor, Woodlawn, Randallstown, Owings Mills. But now the second largest population, or the largest growth in Baltimore County now with African Americans are basically on the east side. So let's look at the east side for a minute. Let's look at the populations of black folks throughout Baltimore County. On the east side, when you look at Turner Station is a long enclave for black folks, but that's not the biggest population. But we have somewhere around 20, between Dundalk and Essex, we have somewhere around close to 30,000 blacks. Many of them just moved there recently. Then you get into Lochraven, Hillendale, and that area. That district, which is District 6, has somewhere around 40,000 blacks. So blacks are continuing to grow and populate Baltimore County all over the areas. Liberty Road, Randallstown, we're at the top. We have 80-some thousand blacks, and we're basically full. So now the growth is throughout Baltimore County. Now the growth is throughout Baltimore County. That's why I say I'm so excited to see these other areas, to see African Americans running in these other areas of the county, which just like someplace like Prince George's County, you can see it happen. You can see as the populations continue, you're going to eventually get more people interested in running for office and being, leaders of their community. So that is happening in Baltimore County. But on the east side also, like so many places, you had like Golden Ring Mall. That mall has been repurposed, right? You have now it's sort of like an outdoor shopping. You have some indoor stuff, but most of it is outdoor with the Walmart and some other things.
What's been the most creative thing you've seen done with a mall?
Let me see. I think
because you're an expert at this juncture, just as the trend has been going for the past 20 years, as you say, malls are dying. And so while you're thinking about that, let me say this. If you own a strip mall in Baltimore County, you don't have to charge your clients so much that they end up going elsewhere. A lot of times those strip malls, they see, and not just Baltimore County, but consistently, Mr. Chair, I see black people start like a beauty salon. They build it out, they make the place very popular, and next thing you know, the owner, the landlord wants to double or triple the rent. And all I'm saying is I encourage us to own.
Okay, well, look, Donnie, I was just looking at the banner. I was just looking at STEAM Center or STEM Center. And I just thought about it. I mean, I before we get to the east side, can we just go back to my neck of the woods for 1 minute? Did I tell you that we're building a $7 million science, technology, engineering, arts, and math center behind the community center? Did I mention that to you?
Liberty Resource Center?
Behind the Liberty Resource Center, there's some land.
I thought that was going to be my house, my retirement house.
No, there's a nice piece of land. I talked to a gentleman before. They were not interested in selling it. At some point, the gentleman reached out to me and said, hey, we are interested in selling. Is the county still interested? I said, well, the county was never interested in the first place. I was sort of interested, but I'll make the county interested. So we took it to the county, or I took it to the county, and we decided that we would enter into a contract. And so now, with the help again of Speaker Jones, because see, when you have somebody like the Speaker of the House on your team, in your community, it pays, it helps. So now between the county's money and the state's money, we're going to build a STEAM center, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. It's going to be the first one here in Baltimore County. It is going to be a significant place for our young people to go and study and learn. And we're still in the process of doing the work in terms of the engineering work, making sure we can build it there. There's a little problem with the stream in the back, but we're working on it. And we would love to be able to maybe have the entrance from Liberty Road versus Greens Lane, but I'm not sure if that's going to work because we'll have to cross a stream and we'll see what that's going to cost. But the point I'm making is significant investment is happening in our community.
Will
And
that include Baltimore County Community College? Will that be some type of partnership? Because they're also out there. They're still out of Offit Road.
yes, yes, they are there. And I'm not sure whether or not we will work with them on that. We're certainly open to collaboration, but right now we're trying to get it built, and the plan is for it to run through Rec and Parks. Um, but that's a significant investment. Now you go out to Northwest Regional Park. We build in $1 million Ravenstein playground. That's going to be the first destination playground in Baltimore County where we hope to attract a tremendous amount of people coming there. Well, kids of all sizes, Donnie. It's like an obstacle course with the Ravens and it's right across the street from the Ravens training camp. So that's going to be very nice. The Ravens helped kick in like $500,000 for that. And then I have money, and this is the part that excites me. We're doing a study right now. I have money to do the engineering work. My plan is to add a first of its kind in Baltimore County, basically call it a splash pad or like a mini water park in Northwest Regional Park, where the water be squirting out of the pipes and the water be coming out of the ground. And, it's just going to be and we're building more pavilions out there for parents can have parties in the middle of all of this stuff for the kids. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Those are some of the improvements we're making on this side of the county, not to mention additional streams and, new schools being built. And we are getting more than our fair share here. And that's my job, is to make sure we get our fair share or more than, in terms of the monies from the government coming to our community. Now, I think that's enough for us. Let's go back to the east side if you want. But there's a lot of things happening over there too, because there's a lot of opportunities, especially in that Middle River, that area opposite the airport over there.
And this involves new schools in that neck of the woods.
Well, we're going to be building some new schools over there as well as needed. I'm not 100% on all the schools that's going on over there, but what I'm talking about is some of those old factories are slated to be demolished, and new apartments and entertainment centers and all of those things are slated to be built on that side of the county, because there's opportunities there when you have hundreds of acres of an old factory sitting there that's been demolished for forever. And now here's somebody coming in willing to invest the money. And that's going to be right across from Martin's Airport. And Donnie, and let me just say one more thing, because you're a history man. I went out there to Martin State Airport on a little program with my daughter. And, we're talking about their efforts in the war. And I'm sitting up there looking at the pictures of their Rosie the Riveters and stuff like that. And I guess it should not have been a surprise to me, but there I was amongst all these white women. There were black women there too, Don, building these airplanes for our war effort right there in Baltimore County. You go out there, they got a little a museum, and they have the pictures, and there it is. When they talk about Rosie the Riveter here in Baltimore County, we have black women out there working, building those airplanes.
All right. So, are you running for county exec?
Donnie, right now I'm working on being the best chairman of the council that I can be, and I'm running for re-election. And when that opportunity presents itself, I think it would be a good bet to say that I would be running for county executive. But right now, I'm just focused on being the best chairman I can be, being the best council person I can be.
What do you want for the young people? People are about to turn 18, about to vote for the first time. People about, my mama said at 18, you're leaving. Not everybody believes that these days, but I believe it. She said at 18, you're leaving. College, military, work, but you're leaving here.
Well, Donnie, let me say this. It's a different world today than the one you and I grew up in. You and I grew up, we had limited entertainment options. We did what we could with what we had, but there was no internet, right? There was no internet. And now I find kids who will spend, it's almost like you wasting your life away if all you're doing is looking at that telephone.
Punishment for us was we couldn't go outside. Punishment for them is you got to go outside without your phone.
That's right. That's right. Go out there and look at a tree or something. I mean, so look, I want so much for our young people. And what I want them to know is they are the future. And they have to decide at this point in their life, what type of life or quality of life do they want? You know, what do you want out of this world? What do you want? What kind of life do you want to live? Do you want to, I mean, you see all these things all over social media and television. You see these wealth and you see all these wonderful things. You have to ask yourself, do you want those things? Because if you do, it's not going to come from some magic wand. It involves work. So you have to plot out your course on what you want to do with your life and start with the quality of life you want. And
See,
what does it take to get that quality of life?
Right. This is where Brianna Ross comes to my mind.
Oh, amen.
I'm running Brianna Ross to be the superintendent or secretary of education for the state of Maryland. I like how she's thinking. Baltimore County needs to no longer be selfish and share her with the state of Maryland. I think it's about time. I mean, because I'm tired of Baltimore City and Prince George's County at the fight for the bottom 23 and 24 in public education. Just Brianna Ross, I mean, my teacher of the year. I think she'd make a great superintendent.
Well, let me tell you, we have a good superintendent, right? So I'm not gonna go there. I went to an event the other day.
Secretary for the whole state.
I went to an event the other day where we were announcing our Baltimore County Teacher of the Year for this year. Baltimore County. She started out as Baltimore County Teacher of the Year, moved on, became Teacher of the Year for the state. So this year we're starting with the Baltimore County Teacher of the Year. I expected her to be there, but Doni, she was in D.C. at doing something over there with the president.
See, that's what I'm saying. We got to get her before she go. I see it.
Well, I'm telling you, I agree with you. We have to continue to develop the talents that we have here in Baltimore County. But, getting back to our young people, Doni, there's a lot of opportunities out here for our young kids. There's tremendous opportunities. But, you have to be at least smart enough. Uh-oh. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm okay. You have to be at least smart enough to know to keep your nose clean, stay out of trouble, stay focused on the type of life you want, and stay away from all the foolishness. One of the biggest problems we have in our education system is we have teachers who go out and work hard every day to try their best to teach our kids. And then we have some kids who want to come and be disruptive. And they, have decided for whatever reason, we don't want to give up on any kid. We love them all. But they decided that they want to come to class and be disruptive, fight over foolishness. And yes, I mean, these things is not leading to the type of life or quality of life that these kids should want to have. So we have look, Doni, did you know that I was very instrumental? I'm being a little humble. It's probably my baby, but we have free community college here in Baltimore County. We have
free community college.
We have a college promise program that if you graduate from a high school in Baltimore County, even if you're homeschooled, you can go to the community college. They don't like it when I say it's free. They like to say other words, but the reality is you have to make, I think your parents have to qualify for a Pell Grant. We take the Pell Grant money and then the county throw in the rest of the money, and it's no money to you. And we've been continuing to push more money into that program, making sure that we leave no kid behind. So the community college came back to us and said, Uncle, you've given us so much money. We funding all of these kids who apply, who can qualify for Pell Grant, and we have money left over. You know what we said, Donnie? Give it to some other kids that don't qualify with a Pell Grant. Don't bring no money back. We investing in children. We're investing in young adults. Keep funding the money. So now we are funding more money for the kids. Of course, you got to qualify for the Pell Grant. But even if you don't, if you make a little too much money, if there's money left over, we're going to take care of you too.
What will be your legacy, Councilman Jones?
I think number one, I'm not done. I'm not done yet. But I like to hope that people just remember me as somebody that was working extremely hard every day to improve the lives of people here in Baltimore County, as well as our region. I mean, don't get it twisted. So goes the city, so goes us. The way we're following Baltimore, the way we're following some parts of Prince George's County because of trajectory and time is the same way. I see certain things in the city. We have to care an awful lot about what happens in Baltimore City. We surround Baltimore City on 1, 2, 3 sides, almost 4. So we care an awful lot about the city, and we continue to. We invest millions into cultural institutions in the city, whether it be the zoo, the Museum of Art, aquarium, all those things that we don't have here in the county. We know that our residents go there, so we literally give them grants every year to, you name it, to the tunes of millions of dollars.
I got to put in a plug for some Baltimore County history. Just over the weekend, I understand that Speaker Jones endorsed Wes Moore, but it was at was it at Oella? It wasn't Oella. There was
you're right. Oella is the area. The Benjamin Banneker Museum is where it was held.
And Benjamin Banneker
absolutely
is so important right now because people are planning events that get rained out, but they may have avoided it had they opened up Benjamin Banneker's almanac. And he's the guy from Baltimore County who memorized the plans, the schematics for Washington, D.C., right out of Baltimore County. International figure.
Absolutely. And it's amazing. I was there. I'm trying to think, how did this happen? I remember, I guess I was there and I came across some people from Philadelphia that came down to check it out. And I was like, "You from Philly?" They're like, "Yeah, we're all from Philadelphia." And we came down here to the museum and we have so much, it's amazing to me, Donnie. Look, let's just talk about history for a minute. Our community, Baltimore County, Baltimore City, is rich in history. People come from all over the world to see these things. Then we have people that live here, won't even go around the corner to check it out.
We also won't go. I got 10 minutes, so I can do this. We don't go to the county seat. We don't go to Towson. We live our entire existence out Liberty Road with no concept that although it's 8 miles away, they need to know our face at the Towson courthouse, administrative offices for the county exec, as much as they do anywhere else. Why don't we go to Towson? We're the smartest, upwardly mobile black people, but we don't go to the county council meetings. We don't go and press up on Johnny Ochesky, who won by 17 votes. And I'm almost certain the African Americans in Baltimore County had everything to do with this election because Jim Brochin, Vicky Almond, they didn't understand our community.
Well, let me just say this.
You were there.
I was there. And let me just tell you, our community gave Johnny more than 17 votes. He won by 17 votes, but we gave him a lot more than 17 votes. And listen, it's my job to make sure he never forgets it. And he does not forget it. And it's my job to make sure we get dividends for it. And he's been more than willing to give us the dividends for our support. And that's the way the game is played. When you give somebody something in the political arena, you expect something in return. You need to be at the front of the line when it comes time to handing out stuff. And that's my job, to make sure that when we say we're giving you our votes, my job, when everybody else has voted and turned around and went back to work and gone to school and gone on with their life and they're not thinking about it anymore, my job is to be there every day, morning, noon, and night, making sure that when the purse strings are loosened, we're there to get ours.
And this means you pushing up on those same people who I have witnessed come out to you for support to get reelected. And I do mean Kwesi Mfume. I do mean Ben Cardin. I do mean Chris Van Hollen. No election is won without coming through the black community. And so when the money starts coming out, like you said, don't give us some dirty red coins, some pennies. We want them stacks. We want them bags. And
Amen.
we don't want to have to go far to look for you.
Amen. And you
Because
know,
just
Donnie,
like we voted them in there, we will vote them out. They can't stay in office forever.
well, let me tell you, I have a lot of respect for those people you mentioned, and they've all been very.
I've seen them knock on your door for help.
Well,
I've seen them. Oh, it's Julian. Like I say, Mike Jones might not be the song back then. You did what? No, but you had to fight your way, and nobody, besides your wife and your daughter, you went through with nobody. I remember.
yeah, well, you're right, and no doubt about it. You know, what I was going to add was getting back to the thing about Towson. And of course, we want people to come to Towson. But you know, this pandemic has changed the way we do business in so many ways. And one of the ways is me and you sitting here right now, two different locations, being able to communicate and being able to broadcast together. And one of the things we've been doing in Baltimore County, we've been, of course, having virtual meetings. I was the chairman, and we're doing virtual meetings, and we're doing so many other things online. Prior to that, we were streaming live. But one of the things, like, we haven't gone back to Towson yet. We're still doing it virtually because, number one, our participation went up. And you think about it, it just makes sense, right? If you have to drive to Towson, park your car, come inside, sit for an entire meeting just to have your 3 minutes of your conversation, just to have a 3-minute testimony on something.
At least y'all
That's
get
what
3
you
minutes. Baltimore City, especially the school board. Charlie Duggar will tell you they give him 30 seconds, Mr. Duggar. I'm sorry.
Well, I tell you, we'll give you 3 minutes, but now you can do it online. So one of the things we're doing, I'll speed it up. We're investing an awful lot of money right now as I'm speaking into those chambers, into those offices out there in Towson, so that when we go back, it will continue to be a hybrid where you can come if you want, but you'll be able to testify online. And we're doing these things, and what makes it so expensive and so tricky is we have beautiful facilities out there that's rich in history, and we're trying not to sort of desecrate them, but we're trying to make it so that we can have the electronics there without necessarily destroying the historical context of our building.
But see, that's just where I'm jealous of Baltimore County, because we have no FiOS here in Baltimore City. So internet connectivity is important to you. It's nice
absolutely.
to have these virtual meetings, but we have to be there.
Yeah, well, I tell you, the internet connectivity is important. And in Baltimore County, we have Northern Baltimore County. We're investing, and we got some grants, literally millions of dollars to try to build out that area to make sure that everybody in Baltimore County have access to the internet. Because
Okay.
these companies going to go where it's profitable. If you live out there in northern Baltimore County in the Hereford zone, and it's like one house within every quarter mile or something, it's not profitable for them to send it, put it up there. But we're making it happen because we own the agreements in terms of, did you know that the Baltimore County Council is the one that enters into the agreements with Comcast and others to do business in Baltimore County? Yep, that's us. So we're making sure that they are investing the monies. It'll be profitable overall, investing the monies to make sure we have internet access to everybody in the county, which was very important when we closed schools down.
So I want to make sure we acknowledge some people. She's not in your office, but she's always been a big help to me and our listeners, and that's Carla Tucker out there in
Hello.
Baltimore County Procurement. But I'm sure you want to acknowledge some people in your office out there at the Liberty Road Resource Center who are always kind to me. You have people from various parts of the county.
Yeah, Carla Tucker, again, does a wonderful job. I know her on a personal level, and we've worked together on a number of issues, especially when I've had my Black business forums and things of that nature to make sure that we're connected and make sure everybody gets the proper information. So she's been in the struggle for some time. We have a lot of people, if there's something I could do for somebody, don't hesitate to call. My number is 410.
People in your office. That's what I was getting to.
Okay. Oh, the people in my office. Let's see. We have Danita, and we have Cassandra, and we have Trevor, and we have Jessica. Those are the folks that work in my office. I have two offices. I have one in Towson. I have one in Randallstown. Most of the time, I bounce back and forth, but lately I spend most of my time in the Randallstown office. But like I said, you can reach out to any one of us if you need something. 410-887-3389, or you can send us an email. Let me give you that number again, 410-887-3389, or you can send an email at council, COUNCIL, 4, the number 4, at, and this is all spelled out, Baltimore County MD for Maryland.gov. Council 4 at Baltimore County MD.gov. Here you have it. We're here to help. We're here to help. Because listen, all of these ideas don't come out of this head. They come from people talking to me and bringing us ideas and suggestions.
Also, we want to acknowledge your wife because she, I'm sure, has been a big influence on your business. Her used to having run the Baltimore City Chamber. So big ups.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Sabrina Jones, my beautiful, hot smoking wife. She's my biggest supporter and my biggest critic. Don't get it twisted. Believe me, she keeps
Walks
me on
quietly along but with a big stick. Thank you very much, Councilman. My name's Donnie Glover. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Donnie. Appreciate the opportunity to be with you.